All right, welcome everybody to another Metabolic Monday with your boy, the Metabolic Mentor. Sorry, we are about 30 minutes behind. We had technical difficulties getting ready to do our MMU $250,000 giveaway event here tonight that I'm gonna lay out for you guys and the terms and the conditions. And so we needed a little bit of time. I can see already a lot of you loading in. Hello, I am a functional nutritionist, Vince Pitstick, bringing you the world of fitness, performance nutrition, weight loss nutrition, and functional medicine, and putting it all together in an hour of information and protocols that you cannot get anywhere else. And so we like to get loud and proud in the chat. I like to get questions from you. I like to make sure you walk away a little bit more educated than when you came in. And hopefully your Monday wasn't too bad, but if it was, hopefully we can make it just a little bit better. So drop in the chat where you're watching from, wherever, what country, what state, what city, where you at. And then let me know, how crazy was your Monday? Was it a 1 out of 10, super chill, super relaxed? Or was it a 10 out of 10 and you're hoping that it ends? Sometimes the best things about Mondays is that they end, and hopefully you end it right here on Metabolic Monday Live. We will be doing a major announcement this evening, so stay tuned for that here in just a little bit. What's up, Markham, Nathan? We've got my amazing team in the chat. We've got Nathan, we've got Waleed, we've got Cam. In case you have any questions from some of the amazing material that we go over this evening, we want to make sure that everybody's seen and heard. And I am infamous for giving away hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of New Ethics Formulations products here live to the people that comment best below. If I do pick your question, you are also eligible for a supplement. I will be letting you know if we picked your question from my questions tab in my stories. What's up, Sharon, Josie, Shannon? Hello, everybody. Again, we have an awesome announcement tonight. I want to get to it, but before we do, we're going to dive into some of the amazing questions that you had dropped on my stories tab this evening. So we're going to dive right into some of those questions. But before we do, real quick disclaimer: this is not medical advice, blah, 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 blah. I am not a doctor. I'm a functional expert, but do not treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please see a functional practitioner or a doctor before utilizing any of this information today, because we know they are so helpful. All right, moving on from that. MMU scholarship. I know some of you are here for that, but you're going to have to wait because we need to get to some awesome questions that you guys dropped to me in the chat. Again, I reward the people who drop amazing questions that I can build information off of, educational hours that hopefully inspire you and open the mind, because there's a lot of bullshit out there. Whole lot of people who don't actually do the thing that you want the answer to. There's a whole lot of people with opinions about the thing. There's a whole lot of people with graduate degrees about the thing. There's a whole lot of people with Instagrams and social media followings about the thing. There's a whole bunch of lawyers that know about the thing, but nobody, doctors that'll tell you about the thing, but nobody does the fucking thing. Except here, we do the fucking thing. So we'll tell you about how to fix the thing because we actually fix the thing, instead of listening to a bunch of people's and opinions out there that don't actually do the thing. Can we agree on that, y'all? Okay, I'm gonna get to some of the amazing questions. First question came from Fit with Tiff. She asks, client is having hormonal issues and is on 300 milligrams of progesterone. Is this too much? I see this all the time. Low progesterone is a very common thing amongst women, especially as we start getting into perimenopause and menopause, or women that are top athletes that are training all the time, or women that are really, really stressed out and on the 3A's, alcohol, Accutane, and Adderall, right? So this will bring progesterone levels down. This will cause anxiety. This will cause other hormonal imbalances. And so progesterone therapy sometimes is applied. Most doctors that do progesterone therapy are all looking at really old, outdated research, in my opinion, or research that's for menopausal females, which is right around 200 milligrams. 200 milligrams of progesterone. And what I learned early on in my career is that 200 milligrams of progesterone might be good for getting rid of anxiety, can be good for sleep, but would be terrible for all of my weight loss clients. It would cause glucose issues. It could cause digestive issues. In some women, it actually increased anxiety. Progesterone is not universally a woman's friend, okay? Every hormone doctor that goes to a weekend seminar comes back trying to give people 200 milligrams of progesterone, no matter where they're at in their cycle or what their hormonal issue is. And because it's touted to them as like the hormone that every woman needs. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a big fan of progesterone, but too much is a problem. In this case, Tiff is going over a case where there's 300 milligrams and wondering why her client is having hormonal issues. Well, all the magical things that progesterone does, as it's, again, we talked about some of them: vitality, mood, sleep, anxiety, helps, progesterone is the hormone that is then detoxed into androgens or estrogens to create other hormones that your body needs. All of that is nice and dandy, but we should talk about the downside to progesterone that some of you may not know about, because if you are a coach or you are someone who's ever thought about hormone therapy, you may want to consider this. So progesterone inhibits glucose uptake. So one of the things that you should know is that if you take a large dose of progesterone, you are going to inhibit glucose being uptake into your cells and sit higher in your blood, in your vascular system, so your blood sugar levels can reflect. Many women will recognize at ovulation or at menstruation, when the body's calling for more progesterone, you're going to see your glucose levels much higher or all over the place. And it's for good reason. Your body is actually trying to call for more insulin to produce more progesterone. So this is common, but you'll see also over here too. Do you like that move? It's like I'm a weatherman. It's like I'm presenting the hormones like it's like your Monday weather. Today is going to be sunny and 72 with a slight chance of rain. All right, but progesterone increases blood glucose via hepatic progesterone receptors, but it also, that will kind of make you less insulin sensitive. So these are really good two research articles that will point out insulin's or progesterone's downside, right? There is a downside to progesterone. And so if you get into 300 fucking milligrams, producer Malachi, you're gonna have to edit that out for the reel we do on progesterone. But if you get into that much, you're gonna get swollen. You probably get more anxious. Your glucose levels will go up. And when your glucose levels go up, and then you're not storing or you're not uptaking the glucose, what will happen then is you're going to start gaining weight. Yes, ladies, if you take too much progesterone, you are going to gain weight. So stop going into just your local hormone doctor just because they got a lab coat on or an MD behind their name, because they probably just went to a weekend seminar about progesterone, came back giving people, maybe they're giving people either high dose capsules or they're giving it in a pellet of some kind. And then you're wondering why maybe your anxiety came down, but your weight's skyrocketing and you're not sleeping as well. Because if they overdose progesterone, that's what's gonna happen. The other thing that you should know is that anything over 50 to 75, sometimes 100 milligrams of progesterone can shut off your own production. And so many women that are looking to become fertile and raise their progesterone levels will be on 200 milligrams or 150 milligrams, or in this case, 300 milligrams, and they will actually make it impossible for them to get pregnant in many ways because it'll shut off some of the natural reproductive process. If you stop making progesterone, it could shut off your LH, FSH, and have a trickle-down effect. So progesterone is not universally a woman's friend. It does have a downside for very strategic reasons. It is still a very good hormone and one that many women need because most women are stressed out. But just like anything in life, ladies, a little goes a long way, so easy does it. So Tiff, I would go ahead and tell this client to go get a second opinion at another endocrine specialist or a doctor that specializes in hormones. This 300 milligrams, unless it is a postmenopausal, extremely anxious, off the wall female that you're trying to get under control, you should never sustain a 300 milligram dose. I much would rather have a woman get her anxiety down, doing other lifestyle means, using other functional medicine tools, and only taking about maybe 50 to 150. milligrams of progesterone. And when in doubt, I like are also the essential oil that comes from Asian yam called Progon B, and just add a few drops orally, because I'd rather give you a buffer, a little bit of more progesterone, and still have your endogenous production not be interfered with. So something to think about, but interesting case. Thanks for bringing it to me, Tiff. Tiff, we're gonna go ahead and reward you. We're gonna go ahead and send you, even though this is about your client, we will go ahead and send you a Progon B to try with one of your clients before you move to hormonal or go to a capsule HRT, BHRT based hormone progesterone. So Waleed, go ahead, Tiff, if you can reach out, Waleed will send it to you from us. It's our Progon B from Practitioner Depot. We appreciate you. Thank you for applying a question. All right, next question. Is testosterone better injected several times a week or once a week? This is from Meg. Thank you, Megan, for a fantastic question. So one of the things that has been said about hormones, and I'll say this time and time again, hormones do not make you lose weight, okay? So I want to say that first off. If you take any hormone, you will not lose weight right away. You will not lose weight right away. Watson's trying to get on set. He's trying to tell me, Dad, I'm hungry, feed me. But what happens is hormones, if in the right balance, make your cells work optimally. That will lead to increased or enhanced metabolic activity within 8 to 12 weeks later. So let me give you an example. Testosterone. Testosterone, when you add testosterone to the body, your weight is going to go up. Now, why is your weight going to go up? Well, because it makes your cells more hydrated. One of the things that hormones do, like testosterone, is it will draw water into the body. As we get older and more stressed, okay, our hormone levels go down, our intracellular, or we'll go total body water, begins to go down, and our fat begins to go up, okay? Now, the hydration status of a human being should be about, Chelsea asked a good question. I'll get to this in just a minute, Chelsea. We'll come back to the pellets question. And make sure you're dropping questions and comments in the chat. I will be giving away free product. I'll be giving away free giveaways or care baskets from New Ethics Formulations. So keep it loud and proud in the chat. Me or my team will get to it below. So let's say I'm a 21-year-old male. My testosterone is at 800. My free testosterone is about 3 to 4% of that, let's say. So maybe somewhere around, 30, 25. And let's say I start eating really shitty. I stop working out. I'm drinking a bunch of alcohol, and 10 years goes by. As those 10 years go by, my testosterone's gonna drop. My water, like total body water, goes from 60% down to about 50%. And then what replaces that kind of is fat, right? Well, and when we talk about it, it's the same thing with females, although females tend to carry about 55% water and a little bit lower total body water. And that's because they have a little bit more fat, usually because of breasts and other areas that women tend to carry a little more fat with them. So their body fat percentage is a little bit higher than the average male, and vice versa. So you end up having a little bit less total body water as a percentage. But what happens as our hormones decline, our total body water begins to decline. As our total body water begins to decline, our extracellular water, that's sub-Q water, that's water that sits outside in our skin, begins to go up. And our intracellular water, the water that's in our muscles, begins to go down, right? So this is problematic because the more dehydrated I get, the fatter I look. Drop in the chat if you understand what I'm talking about right now. I don't want to lose people. So the more dehydrated I get, because water goes from inside my cells to outside in my skin, I begin to look fatter. I might be gaining fat too, but it's something that's important to understand. So hormones, right? Hormones, they draw water in and they bring water up. However, okay, when you're researching a supplement, do you look at CGMP, ISO over just GMP, We'll get to that. Interesting. Great question, Kate. There's a lot of good questions. I want to get to these in just a minute. I'll scroll back through them in just a minute. But this is an important concept. So if my hormones are low, let's say I'm a 35-year-old female, my total body water is going to be low, my extracellular water is going to be high, and my intracellular water is going to be low. So I'm going to be a bit like the Tin Man. I'm going to be low on oil, okay? So let's say I try to get healthy. And so the doctor tells me, hey, if you take testosterone, you're going to lose fat, you're going to lose weight. And I rush and I go ahead and I take testosterone, I put it in my body, and now I'm up another 7 pounds. And now I'm pissed, right? Because I don't know the difference between fat or water. I don't know why this is happening, and I don't like it, right? So what happens is that if I just add a hormone really quickly, that hormone's gonna raise hormones in my body. My total body water is going to go up. But then it takes 8 to 12 weeks, and this can be for progesterone, testosterone, or estrogen. It takes 8 to 10 weeks for that water that just went up to go inside my cells. Now, if you're working with a coach and you're eating really clean and you got the right electrolytes and you're sleeping appropriately, you can probably cut that time 20 or 30%. But the fact is, you will not lose weight immediately. Now, testosterone makes you more anabolic. And anabolic tends to build muscle or hold muscle. And so as over those 8 to 12 weeks, right, I'm going to tend to hold more muscle in a caloric deficit and slowly over time burn a little bit more fat than muscle, or fat and muscle for the most part. So it makes me more anabolic over time, which can lead to sustained weight loss. So understand that hormones are really good for maintaining body composition over time, keeping a stronger metabolic rate, but hormones will not help you lose weight immediately. It's not real. Anyone that tells you that's a liar or is just ignorant, whether it's ignorant or malice, it doesn't matter. It all ends the same way, which is disappointment. So hormones are still important. So let's go over some questions and I'll come back to this. Carrie says, experience this exact thing with a pellet. I found going to daily cream was a game changer. Carrie, so let me pick apart. Hopefully you'll give me permission to pick apart what you just said, because it was good, but I wanna tell you a little bit about what I've learned and why we're answering this question. So with your permission, what I'm gonna do is a pellet is a large amount of hormone delivered into the hip, okay? Now it's supposed to time release. It doesn't do that very well. And you end up with a large buildup of hormone inside of your body when you test, okay? So this is gonna drain a lot of water with it. When you add that much hormone really quickly, it temporarily slows down your metabolic rate. So everyone should know this, that if you add, again, testosterone and progesterone, remember what I said about progesterone, I don't know what was all in your pellet, but if you add a lot of progesterone and testosterone, you will actually gain fat at first, because when you add that progesterone and that testosterone can go into estrogen, and all of that can make you slightly more insulin insensitive, so you start storing more sugar as fat for a short period of time. Short period. That's why I don't like pellets. Pellets ain't making no one lose weight up front. And Carrie, to your point, most of these doctors are going to a weekend seminar. These people are telling them at this seminar how amazing pellet therapy will be in their practice. It'll be an additional revenue resource to the practice, and your people are gonna feel great. And yes, they're going to feel great because you're jacking them full of fucking hormone. If I give you a lot of any hormone, you're gonna feel fucking great. Thyroid, testosterone, whatever, except for estrogen. But if I give you a lot of almost any of these things, you're gonna feel fucking great for a second until you burn yourself out on it, and then you feel worse, yet have a higher level of hormones. It happens all the time. So then what you have to do is take more and more and more. Bodybuilders will tell you this all the time as they run different stacks. They have to stack different sets of hormones because they can't get the same result from the same hormone again, right? So what's important to know, though, is that when you move from a pellet to, let's say, a cream, so if you try to put testosterone or progesterone in a cream, the problem with that is not much of that is getting into your cells the way that you would want it to. So when we look at tissue studies of transdermal application hormone, the results aren't very good. And when you look at blood work, I need you to be aware of this, there's no good way to track the hormone level in your body from transdermal hormones. And the research is pretty clear on this. Like, the best way to track transdermal is to do a spit test. So if you're going to apply transdermal hormones, you should do a spit test, like a ZRT test. If it's tissue application, then you should do a tissue-based test. Blood work for transdermal hormones is very inaccurate. All right? The second thing that you should know is that transdermal absorption of hormones is a really big guessing game, because everybody transdermally absorbs hormones at different rates. So we don't like seeing that either. So I don't mind if the cream is working for you because you're getting micro doses of it on a daily basis. That is the one thing that is nice about creams, is the micro dosing on a daily basis. One of the other reasons I got away from creams for hormones is that if you're not great about really cleaning your hands, you will then transfer hormone to your pets or to your significant other. The FDA actually 8 years ago put out a warning about giving pets accidental doses of hormones every time you love on them after using a hormone cream on your body. That's a real story. And so it's important that we're aware that where you put that hormone might get on your husband or can get on your pets, stuff to think about. And so I, for the most part, stay away from creams when I can. So coming back to the question that was asked here, is testosterone better injected several times a week? We have found the best answer is either a troche for testosterone, which is a micro dose under, that you can take, that's like a sublingual daily, or you do an insulin injection. So this is the nice thing about insulin needles, is they're really tiny. One thing we discovered about testosterone, it doesn't need to be intramuscular. I wish I would have known this when I was a juice head and I was bodybuilding and I was abusing steroids. It would have saved my ass cheeks a lot of pain. But good thing I'm not doing that these days. It's not my life anymore. But there was a time when I was a bodybuilder and I took a lot of stuff. But today we find that testosterone can be subcutaneous. So you can just inject it sub-Q. You don't need intramuscular. So you can use these little tiny needles, they're really tiny, insulin syringes, they're like 31 gauge. And you can do little bits 3 times a week is the best idea. So like if I was gonna give a woman, and I don't prescribe, Vital Med would prescribe, but let's say I was to tell a woman what the best way to take their dose, it would be to take whatever the milligram amount is, right? And to divide it into 3 or 2. And what that does is it distributes water so much nicer in the body. So if I do smaller doses throughout the week, I don't get this huge water retention build up. And I start with smaller doses. Chelsea says, a practitioner tried to argue with me that you're still going high on the days you inject 3 times a week. Thoughts? Chelsea, you're not going as high. Like, do you know how high you're going on a pellet? And when you're doing really small doses, if you stretch it out, you're not creating really high peaks like you would be with one major dose. Now, granted, is one dose of testosterone that much different than 3 doses during the week? No. It's best for you because it keeps your water retention down, okay? The half-life of testosterone is about 14 days. So you're not really you're not improving performance really if you're using a long-acting ester like enanthate, which is the common testosterone used, enanthate or cypionate. Usually it's a cypionate. But cypionate and enanthate are really not any different. I don't even want to get into that. You can use something called propionate, right? Or something called primo. These are, but you have to take it more often and you have to take a higher dose, and that really reduces water tension, is more fast acting. The half-life gets reduced significantly when moving to a propionate or a primo versus an enanthate or a cypionate. But again, that's typically not necessary, but it is the best way to apply testosterone, either by troche, a small amount daily, or by multiple injection throughout the week. So to get back to the question here, absolutely, I think it's better for water retention. And then Megan, I would advise that you start with a really tiny dose, maybe 3 to 5 milligrams, and every week you can walk it up an extra milligram till you get to the dose your provider wants you at. And that will prevent some of the little bit of weight fluctuations that you would have in between. And don't forget that testosterone in the end does improve metabolic function and will help metabolic rate, but that takes, like 8 to 12 weeks of ramp up, and it's much more prevalent in men. Women don't get as much of a metabolic boost as men do. Women get more of a metabolic boost from androsterone, okay? From androsterone, which is something that you can get by raising DHEA levels. It's something that you can get from, again, building up your hormone, supporting it with Humanifort. Like the list goes on and on. Maca root, deer antler. This list goes on and on and on. Aspartic acid, D-aspartic acid. I could give you a million things. You can try Jumpstart. You could try, I love Jumpstart EC. You can check that product out. DHEA is really good. My dose is for every 10 days. Yeah, I wouldn't do that, Ellie. That's silly. And no one should be telling you to do that. So again, I don't know where this person, so take your dose, Ellie, at least divide it out into a 3 amount split. Take 2 the first 7 days, then take your third one on the 10th day if you want to make sure you stay in that amount. But do you see already, ladies and gentlemen, how many doctors are out there randomly saying all kinds of stuff? No one is in alignment. No one's up to date on the new research. And oh, by the way, none of these doctors actually do the hormone work with nutrition to get you the fucking outcome that you're looking for. That's why I launched VitalMed. VitalMed.com, my team of nurses, nurse practitioners, they all work with coaching clients to make sure you get the hormones right, but you look right and you get the outcome that you're looking for. So I really suggest you guys check it out. Get in there for a session. Check out VitalMed.com. I'm telling you right now, Megan and the team will blow you away with their service. They'll give you amazing answers that actually coincide with your metabolism so that you don't, on one hand, go in for anxiety and come out 20 pounds up, that you get the answer that you're really looking for. No one was teaching it right, so we launched our own for our clients, and that's where we get amazing results. You can too. You don't have to be a part of the ecosystem. VitalMed.com. Go check it out. All right. I've got some big news. I know you guys have been waiting for this. Producer Keone, actually tonight, Keone on the mic. My clicker is shut down. If you can get me set up. There we go. All right. I'm gonna come back to this question in a second, but I want to go to this. All right, everybody, real quick, commercial break, shameless plug. The 2024 MMU Scholarship Program is here and live, everybody. So with the MMU scholarship, we're giving away a full ride scholarship for $20,000. If you're somebody that hates your job and is like, man, I'd love to be a coach. Maybe you're someone who's gotten really sick and has gotten healthy with functional medicine, and you're like, man, I'd love to do this as a career for others, whether it's part-time. The best part about being a coach is it's online. You can still be a mom. You can still have your other job, and you can help people change their lives and get paid to do it. Well, we love you to do it the functional way and not just the standard lower the calories and beat the shit out of them kind of way. And so that's why we promote functional nutrition, but we also teach all nutrition like concepts, whether it be macros. We teach some of the training. We teach a lot of those things here at MMU. We're not just functional holistic alone. Plus, we're giving away over $250,000 afterwards as another giveaway, partial scholarships to many of you that have been thinking about it but just never could pull the trigger. So we're giving over $250,000 away in additional scholarships. We've never given this much away, and we're only doing this about once a year, so I really suggest that everybody get involved. Now, the scholarship is for healthcare practitioners, right? So dietitians, doctors, nurses, we have programs for you. Fitness and nutrition coaches, right? Individuals who want to be a functional health coach, right? Anyone looking to expand their knowledge of functional health and nutrition. This is for all of you to take a massive leap in your career, in your personal life. I can tell you the one thing is, you go through MMU, your life is gonna change, period, end dot. You'll never look at nutrition the same. The secrets that I have in here, no one else has, and no one else is teaching them the way that we're teaching them, period, end dot, right? That's why I've been able to build one of the largest health coaching companies in the United States with the protocols that we have designed. Now, I wanna tell you a little bit about, we have different levels. We have 3 levels of programming. Our level 1 functional health course, it gives you the option to move at your own pace. Upon graduation, you will be a level 1 certified health coach, ready to use your knowledge to help people achieve their health goals. In our level 1 program, you will uncover the foundations of functional root cause approach while learning our proprietary 4F system. In our level 2, so you can take the next step and become a little bit more advanced. Our level 2 functional health course is completely self-paced and will take approximately 50 hours to complete. In addition to our level 2 functional health course, includes enrollment into our labs track course. You can either jump into these modules at any time. We recommend completing it alongside your level 2 journey, as you'll find the topics coincide and will increase your understanding of the material. Upon graduation, you will be a level 2 certified functional health coach, capable of effectively incorporating functional lab work into your coaching practice through comprehensive assessment and individualized protocols in areas like thyroid, hormones, fat loss, metabolic disease. And then the Mac Daddy, who has achieved into master status, the level 3 functional health course. Here we go, is completely individualized. Again, you build your own structure, meaning that once you get the 4F system, you've got the magic staff to go out and change the world in level 1. You get the information, the basic stuff that you need to run out there and change the world and be a game changer, have an amazing online career, or do whatever you want to do, right? After you get that, and then you get through some of our level 2 in the labs, you then get to pick your own adventure. I want to become a master of hormones. I want to become a master of thyroid. I want to become a master of genetics. I want to become a master at weight loss resistance. You get to pick your journey and become an expert at the specific thing that you want to do. We don't control you. We only harness the pathways and help you find the one that is best for you, that is going to help you, your clients, or your potential future career. So this path is truly for practitioners who want to submerge themselves into a transformative and inspiring process. And so that's where you've reached that master God status of understanding, right? They got God mode in video games, right? I don't play video games anymore, but I know it exists. And now every client, you're just crushing and changing lives. The level 3 course. So applications are now open. So please Go DMMMU. Go to Metabolic Mentor University. We'll drop it. There you go. There's Metabolic Mentor University. Go ahead and DM them. I don't know why you picked that one, but that'll work. Hey, go ahead and producer Keone's not had time to do this very often, guys. Don't worry about him. The weatherman is off the tracks. All right. MMU, go ahead and DM MMU scholarship now, and good luck. Application window is open from the 15th to the 22nd. I will announce the winner on April 22nd, right here, baby. Right here, Metabolic Monday Live. We're, again, giving over $250,000 away, right? This could be the opportunity to get you started learning the education while you work the other job, or if you're a coach, being able to get the information and education at a really low cost and go make a shit ton of money using it on your clients. So check it out. Great results, builds great businesses. This information will change your life and all of your clients' lives. These secrets in here are worth going after. Please apply. Again, the window is the 22nd. Not many days to apply. All right, next question. This is a really good one. This came up on PMDD. I'm going to explain PMDD, right? It's a very severe form. It's like a disease, a PMS disease, we'll call it, where your PMS symptoms are so bad, right, that they have to give it a disorder, right? And so they classified it separately because it's of its criteria of symptomatology is so much more heightened than maybe your normal just perimenopausal or your your perimenopausal period issues or really bad period symptoms that you might have. And so best course of action when dealing with PMDD. So Chelsea, this is a really good question because in the axis of, this is the blueprint. This is the functional medicine blueprint right here. This is the axis of all things that have to work together for your body to work correctly and make you feel good on a day-to-day basis. When you end up with something as strong as PMDD, it's never just your hormones. It's a combination of different systems that are out of whack that are making it builds up to the end, and then your period symptoms have neurological consequences, physiologic consequences, so much pain and all of the things. And so to attack PMDD with one protocol will never work. There's not one pill, there's not one thing you can do for PMDD because it's a functional problem. And a functional problem involves multiple systems. So my approach whenever I'm going after PMDD has to be systematic. It has to be deductive in its approach. You cannot simply fix a complex problem with inductive reasoning. Oh, you have PMDD? Let's try this pill and then see if the theory works. And if that pill doesn't work, come on back. Daddy's got another pill for you. Let's see if this one works. Or try this birth control. Or do this. That's inductive reasoning, and that's why standard Western medical approaches to solving problems doesn't work, which is why the Western medical system gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we get sicker and sicker and sicker, because it's fundamentally not how you solve problems, okay? If you have a complex problem, I want you to think about your shoes. That's why I don't like laces, so they don't ever get knotted up. You're gonna see no laces on these Thursdays. But if you got laces and you got a really bad knot in your lace, you and I both know to undo that, you don't pull really hard on one end. It's just gonna make the knot fucking worse. It's not what you do. You have to go through a process of undoing the knot. PMDD is a knot that you don't simply pull on one end. You've got to approach it systematically in order to create great outcomes. So with PMDD, oftentimes the first thing that I'm gonna have people do is go do the 2 to 4 week flush. It's only $99. You guys can have amazing results, drop a bunch of weight, eating more foods, learn about the flush system, which is the flush heard around the world. This is one of the most used diets in the country. You can go to vitalcoaching.com. If you do the flush and flush the system out first, I found that people with PMDD have genetic issues, they have hormonal issues, they have neurological issues, they have gut issues. So it all kind of goes together. So we flush the whole system out first. We kind of prep the body, open it up. That's always the first thing we do. Then you've got to go through estrogen elimination. All of these pathways are the pathways that all hormones are processed and detoxed. You guys will learn about this, by the way, in level 2 and level 3 of MMU. And so what's important to recognize here is that a lot of times women don't realize this. When you look at standard hormone blood work, right? If you just look at blood work, you're going to see a progesterone and an estrogen and a testosterone. Did you know that you have about 37 hormone metabolites that are all filtering through this, killing me. They're all filtering through this process, right? And you have to find out where they're stuck. People get stuck in the processing, usually around here, which is phase 1, phase 2 of estrogen detoxification. This is usually where people are getting stuck. Well, how do I figure out where I'm getting stuck on a PMDD case, Vince, if I'm only looking at 3 values on a blood work hormone panel? Great question. You're not. You got to go to the Dutch test. Okay? Dutch tests show you all the pathways and patterns and what's going on along with cortisol daily production, because that has a big impact, right? And it's going to show you all of your hormones, right? This you can get practitionerdepot.com, and then you can have somebody, a dietitian, break it down for you and give you a protocol for only like $75. You can't beat it. Go to practitionerdepot.com, you buy the lab, and then you buy the dietetics review for like $75. It'll change your life. Go check this out. So I got to figure out where I'm getting blocked. Usually women are having methylation and hydroxylation issues related to estrogen, and their hormone balance is way off. They're usually estrogen dominant with lower progesterone, or their cortisol's through the roof and their progesterone is low. Sometimes women with PMDD have a form of non-classic PCOS, so their androgens are high and their estrogen is low. And the way you figure all that out really easily is through a Dutch test. Now, I will go back to your question though. If in fact, Chelsea, if PMDD runs in your family, PMDD runs in your family, is there something there? It's like something like I can get into it. Can you give me a beat? Give me a beat, we'll figure it out. Okay, never mind. All right, but so if it runs in your family, you may have some of the genetic markers that cause hormone imbalance. This is a bad screen, I apologize for you. This is called a Pro7 genetics test. And we use this with a lot of females that have PMDD because a lot of times they have MTHFR gene SNP, they have COMT, right? They can have a few other genes related to detox processing of hormones and in the liver. And when we open those up, a lot of times we can liberate people from their PMDD symptoms. You don't always have to go to a genetics test. A lot of women with PMDD can just flush themselves, get the Dutch test, work a protocol, and then the last but not least, take our product called Menstrual Ease. It's right. You can take it through your luteal phase 2 twice a day, and then take another 2 through 2 to 4, up to 6 through your menstrual cycle and have great success. Ellie asks, how do you decide if you should take DIM or just start progesterone? Well, Ellie, I would suggest, Allison says, I just got a GI map through the consult the consult through you, and it absolutely helped me solve my gut problems. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate that. No one's offering $75 reviews and protocols off the labs. Practitioner Depot is second to none. My team at Vital Coaching is amazing. Ellie says, how do you decide if you should take DIM or just start progesterone? Well, the challenge with that is that you really at least should look at blood work or a Dutch test to know that. I will say that a small dose of DIM goes a long way. That's why, Ellie, when you don't know, you can just take the product called Jumpstart EC. Jumpstart EC is designed to help balance your hormones. It has a touch of chasteberry in it, and it has a touch of DIM in it, and it supports your androgen levels. So if you don't know your levels and you're just trying to balance some things out in the interim until you can get some labs, I really either like Jumpstart, or if you don't like that one, go to Estrofactors. Take Jumpstart, you take, I would take 3 twice a day. Estro Factors, same thing, 3 twice a day. So check either one of those products out. They're absolutely amazing, practitionerdepot.com. You can get this Pro 7 genetics test, practitionerdepot.com. We give you access to all the labs. You can design your own labs. You can design your own blood work for low everyday prices. Go check it out, practitionerdepot.com. All right, moving on. Next question. Here we go. Correlation between, this is a really cool topic. Y'all ready? I love this topic. Taylor knocked it out of the park. Taylor, great for this question. Correlation between methylation and addiction. Okay, so methylation, what is it? Methylation is the process of conversion. It's how your body makes new cells. It's how your body converts hormones. It's how your body converts neurotransmitters. Basically, a methylation process or a methyl bond, right? Or a methyl group is essentially a tracking system for conversion. So if I wanted to convert estrogen into something else, I would have to connect a methyl group to it to then attach it to something else, right? So methylation is the process of giving a big hug and never letting go, right? So if I want to make anything into something else, I need methyl groups to do it. Part of that process, the process of methylation, right? So if I want to convert neurotransmitters, I need methyl groups. If I want to convert hormones, I need methyl groups. If I want to translate mRNA into a new mRNA strand to make a new cell for cell division, I would need methyl groups. I hope people are following along here, how important methylation is. Many people have genetic SNPs or single nucleotide polymorphisms. These are changes in our genetic profile over history, over time. The problem is that many women then can't methylate very well. In fact, up to I think about 1/3 of women in the United States have some form of block in their methylation. And we're seeing this big rise in addictive behavior, and not even just drug addiction. This can be eating disorders. This can be codependency. This can be addicted to emotions, emotional addiction. That's where extreme fear, extreme anxiety, codependency, some of these other behavioral disorders that would be very akin to neurologically, alcohol, drugs, and the like. There's some interesting research on this. So there are genes that correlate to addiction. So many of you, if you wanted to know, listening to this call, do I have the genetic predisposition of potentially having addictive behavior or becoming addicted to a substance or a food or something of the sort? You can now check that, believe it or not. There are a certain subset of genes. So here we're looking at methylation in general. This would be the MTHFR gene. That is the conversion of something called methyl tetrahydrofolate. It's how we take folate, dietary folate from our diet, methylate it, and then use it in our brain for conversions, okay? Producer Malachi, hit him with full screen here for just a second. So as we look here at a couple different studies, this is looking at this, and you'll see here, emerging evidence suggests that DNA methylation status also controls neuroplasticity, triggered by exposure to drugs or abuse, and many greatly influence the development of drug addiction and how this disorder is manifested. Same thing, it says over the side, it says, oh, but what I want you guys to see here is this over here. Hey, hand, there's the hand. You see MAOA and COMT, 2 enzymes involved in catecholamine neurotransmitter metabolism, also influence vulnerability to develop alcohol and tobacco dependence. This is important, right? So one of the things that we learn, and we're going to learn here, MAOA, predictors of alcohol use disorder, MAOA gene. So any of y'all with kids, and if you got addictive people that live in your family, or really successful people, by the way, MAOA and the COMT gene are genius genes and they're addiction genes. Note the subtle difference, between, Van Gogh, who is one of the greatest, right, painters of all time, but also cut his ear off in insanity. You'll notice that there is this fine line between genius and insanity. Well, that's because these genes predicate on the balance. So if you got kids, I'm going to tell you right now, my genes got all this in it. So when I got kids, you better know I'm gonna look and I'm gonna be like, hey son, listen, whether he's got these or not, and kind of give him some of this information so he's more informed when he goes out in the world, or she goes out in the world to make decisions about what he's going to do or not do, or she, with his or her body. One of the things that was really interesting on the studies here, on the other hand, genes influencing diverse aspects of addiction neurobiology, including anxiety, impulsivity, reward seeking, including genes such as MAOA, SLC6A4, but more importantly, catecholamine COMT. What does this mean? So let me explain this a little bit. So these genes, including methyl, so MTHFR, COMT, and MAOA, these have to do with breaking down monoamines. Now, what does that have to do with? Catecholamines. Those are stress hormones. Yes, pay attention, ladies. I'm about to blow your mind with something. So whenever you get really afraid, or you go through something really tough in your life, or you go through a toxic codependent relationship, or you end up, or someone that ends up eating a lot of food for a bodybuilding competition, right? Or you're somebody that just partied hard as a kid and you drank a lot of alcohol, or you did a lot of cocaine, or whatever your thing was, right? That produces a shit ton of dopamine and stress hormones, something called catecholamines. So like adrenaline, right? Epinephrine, right? These genes are responsible for breaking them down and clearing them out of the body, right? Well, the problem is that if you have these gene SNPs, then you're gonna have a harder time breaking these things down. Now, this is a rough answer for all of you. So this is why people that have MTHFR, COMT, or MAOA, or a combination of these, have a higher likelihood of gaining an emotional disorder or a drug addiction. Now, maybe you might know someone who's really addicted to fear all the time. There always got to be something to be afraid of, or a hypochondriac, right? Or a chronic gambler, maybe a porn addict, maybe someone, again, that can't break the cycle of codependent relationships. It's highly likely that some point in their past, they were hit with a trauma that released a lot of endorphins, catecholamines, adrenaline, cortisol, and they couldn't break it down. So it kept them kind of high, that emotional high. So you get addicted to these real highs, and then you don't come down for a very long time. This leads to addictive behavior. These people are more likely to get a really euphoric effect from alcohol or cocaine, or they're able to get this really high effect from lifestyles that we would admit are injurious, but we keep doing them. Why do you keep binging on food, Martha? Or why do you keep gambling, John? Or why do you keep getting in these crazy ass codependent relationships, Joanne? Right? It's all the neurobiology of it. The firing sequence of the brain is exactly the same in all these people. That's why we're becoming addictive America. Why can I not get off my phone? The dopamine hit. Oh my God, the dopamine hit, right? From doing this all day. It's the same from doing this all day and eating the food, right? It's the same thing about like checking where your guy's at on maybe Snapchat or whatever tracking device you got on your phones these days. And you're just watching where they're at, what are they doing, right? That whole thing is way more likely for people that have these gene SNPs, because the endorphin or the catecholamine response is so high that their body doesn't know how to feel normal on anything lower. So then they will keep seeking these behaviors out over and over and over again, right? And that's why, addiction recovery isn't just for drugs. I mean, it's for people with emotion. We are addicted to emotional states, fear, sadness, anger, because they crank our dopamine and we trying to get high. I want to get that good, get it in my veins right now, right? It has a lot to do with these genes, and it also has to do a lot with our addictive than just behavioral patterns we create. But these genes are showing us more and more every single day that there's things that we can do to help manipulate those things, to help make it easier to detox these things, giving people more freedom to make decisions outside of their innate emotional requirements. So it's really interesting taking a look at this and where the research is going. I will take a couple more questions from the chat and award some people some New Ethics products for being, we had a great crowd tonight, so I want to make sure I deliver. I've been talking at you a lot. Chelsea Tutta asks, do you consider Hashimoto's an OID issue? Have you ever seen a correlation between hypothyroidism and anxiety? Chelsea, so according to our data and our clinical evidence, right, we see Hashimoto's comes on years after you have symptoms. Would you agree or disagree, Chelsea? I'm sure you would agree. So if you don't have Hashimoto's, but you've got Hashimoto's symptoms until it gets too bad that you then have Hashimoto's, well, what did you have before Hashimoto's? You had an overactive immune system that then turned into Hashimoto's. Just like you have metabolic syndrome before you have prediabetes, before you have high blood pressure usually. Because there's a level of inflammation that builds up in the cardiovascular system that then leads to disease. OID is the precursor to every autoimmune disorder that has ever existed, or something called IMIDs, immune-mediated inflammatory disease. Lori Lynn says, I'm finishing up an aggressive cut. Oh, happy for you. I hope it's going great. Would you recommend using the flush to reverse out? Curious about that versus old school reverse diet. Lori, I'm going to tell you what. I love I love reversing out. It depends how long you've been down there. You use the word aggressive, right? So I would ask you to take a look at your glucose levels 2 hours after you eat a meal. If it's in the hundreds, I'd be a little bit concerned about cranking my calories up quickly. 2 hours after you eat meals, like 2 hour postprandial. And don't do it around working out or ovulation or menstruation. I suppose, Lori, the question would be, did you lose your cycle? Because if you lost your cycle, I would suggest that you take it very, 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 very slowly, maybe 50 to 100 calories a week on the way up and out, okay? If you did not lose your cycle, you could literally get your calories up to 2,000 calories and not gain almost any weight with the flush. I love the flush for that. Make sure you take Thyroid Boost Plus and GDA Max Pro. Don't take those out. But yeah, for sure, do that. In fact, I'm going to hook you up, my girl. I'm going to give you Thyroid Boost Plus from New Ethics on your boy, sending it to you while we get our information that'll help you with your reverse. Good luck, Lori. Jill Gibbs says, is vagus nerve stimulation good daily? Vagus nerve stimulation is very good. You stimulate it daily doing a lot of different things. Do I think it's medicinally going to solve anything? No, I do not. Do I think it's very good for your central nervous system? Abso-friggin-lutely is a good practice. Next up, Sammy Lee. Sammy Lee says, is Thyroid Boost supplement enough to boost thyroid without prescription drugs? Sammy, hell yes it is. I would take, I don't know if you have a severe hypothyroid case, take 3. If you have a moderate, 2 should work, and if 2 doesn't end up being enough on your labs, just pop 3 and you'll be good to go. Robin Lynn says, fibroid surgery. Can you advise on how to support post-surgery? Robin, hell yes I can, and I'm here to help you on the journey. So I don't know how big your fibroid was, Robin, but if it was larger than the 1.5 golf balls, then it's too big and it has to be cut out. Now, we want to prevent you from getting other fibroids, Robin. So one of the things you need to start doing is checking your iodine status. Iodine and fibroids are directly tied together. In fact, we see it all the time. If we catch a fibroid soon enough and we put you on something called iodoral and put you on anywhere from 12 to 75 milligrams of iodine for anywhere from a 6 to 8 week period, you will get rid of many of those. We've seen it a million times. So one of the things I'm going to want you to do is probably take 12.5 or 12.5 milligrams of iodoral at least for 12 weeks, most likely. So go ahead and get that, practitionerdepot.com. In fact, you know what? And then you need to make sure that you're detoxing your estrogens, keeping them relatively somewhat semi-low. You still want estrogen. You don't want to get it too low. So I'm going to hook you up with our product called Estro Core, coming from us from New Ethics Formulations. Waleed, hook Robin up. Robin, also, I would recommend our flush. I would do a flush. Go ahead and send her Waleed, send her Estrocort and send her the OptiPure liver pills for her to do on her flush. Lori, do our flush program. Go to vitalcoaching.com. Do the flush. As soon as you get done with do the removal, take about a day. I would fast. I would not eat the first day after. I'm a big faster post-surgery, okay? Because it calms the immunological response. So do not try to fast the first day post-surgery. You're probably constipated, not feeling good anyway. You're not going to eat that much. 10 centimeters, pretty big. So, and then I would do our flush. Go get our Metapure. I just sent you the OptiPure. They'll build you, the flush course will design you a diet just for you. Go do the flush. And then take the Estrocort after with Iodoral, 12.5 milligrams. I'd probably take, I don't know how high your estrogen levels are. I'd probably just take one twice daily. You should be good to go, and you'll never get another fibroid again, for the most likely, unless you go off the rails and do your own thing in life. I can't guarantee that, but otherwise you'll be good to go. Mary says, I have thyroid nodules and hypothyroidism. A previous doctor had me on semaglutide for 6 months at 150 units per week. I have an emergency ultrasound. What could be worst case scenario? So, okay, and we need to be somewhat careful with this. So semaglutide, if and only if you already had thyroid cancer, can aggravate and feed the cancer. But so can NAD, so can glutathione, so can any antioxidant. So demonizing semaglutide because it can enhance thyroid cancer, it's kind of like people just fear-mongering. Thyroid cancer, while a faster growing cancer, is still pretty rare. Nodules and irregular growths can be totally normal, Mary. It does not mean you have thyroid cancer. A lot of people who have nodules have impaired detox pathways. Their immune systems are upregulated and they're overactive around the site of the thyroid, leading to nodules. An overactive immune system leaves you more susceptible to cancer. I will say this because most autoimmune sufferers have a 30 to 50% increased risk of getting cancer because they have dead cells inside of their body because their immune system isn't working correctly. One of the number one ways to protect yourself against cancer is your immune cells. Your immune cells will eat out precancerous cells. But if your immune system doesn't work correctly, like in an autoimmune disease, that's when you're more likely to get viruses and cancers, because that's Th1 function. It's a whole nother story on immunology. It's not Th2 function where you're working on bacterials and non-foreign body objects. But I don't think the semaglutide has anything to do with this. I think it has a lot to do with us and your immune system. Mary, I'm telling you right now, if you're going through that, and you're really reach out to our team. If something comes up that's severe, we can help. Reach out to our team, talk to us, send us a message. Thoughts and prayers are with you, but people have to do ultrasounds all the time. We can help you with that program, those issues should that come up. Kate said, researching supplements, Kate gets fit, .ish. Researching supplements, do you look at just CGMP or do you look at ISO and COFA? Okay, so she is bringing up a bunch of different types of certifications, fundamentally speaking, that you can get. And it depends. So Kate, what I look at, so if you look at my supplements on practitionerdepot.com, all of them are CGMP, but we also own almost every single one of them, right? Also is certified, right, by another third party, whether it be TGA, NSF, NPA, right, to give it another third party look. I will tell you that as someone who's been in the supplement industry long enough, the truth is, Kate, the most valuable information about a business is to learn about its internal QC, its internal quality control. And the reason for that is because a lot of these certifications, I don't believe do that great of a job at authenticating the quality, although it's more of a rubber stamp sometimes. Your internal QCs and how many times you're testing and how many times between batches are you testing and what's going on there has to do with internal quality control. Like New Ethic's internal quality control is very high for a company our size. You also talked about ones that are universal. Amazon requires, I believe, COFA now. I like some of those; they're good. But again, I don't always look at ISO. But again, we are looking for multiple different standards of quality control before we bring a product into our ecosystem. Great question. Let's see. Carrie says, planning to do the flush protocol. Any suggestions for post-flush? Is that laid out in the protocol? Highly suspect OID and I need to take action. Carrie, I'm sure we can help you. Here's the thing. If you go buy our flush course and you go through the course, usually you'll get a follow-up meeting with one of our coaches. So you can just in the app, and then they can do an assessment on you and then take you to the next step. So just start the flush and then we can move you along in the process. We got it all laid out. All you have to do is start the flush, work through it, and we can keep working through it. Interior color for soul and mind once in menopause. What do you recommend about lack of estrogen production? Not keen on HRT. I would ask you first, why are you not keen on HRT? What have you been told or what have you read that would make you doubt the efficacy of, and I don't like HRT either, by the way. I only like BHRT. And there's a big difference. Because if you look at HRT, this is the thing, they trick you with HRT research. A lot of research on HRT is still on synthetic hormones because HRT does not mean bioidentical. It can mean anything. It can mean bioidentical, it can mean synthetic. It's just hormone replacement therapy. Well, what hormone? BHRT, if you look at the data, is incredibly safe. Estrogen is your friend, right? Yes, I'm not afraid. Yeah, you're exactly right. I am not a fan. I like injectable, bioidentical, exactly identical to what you had, injectable estradiol in just the tiniest amounts. You would be blown away. You could do 2-3 milligrams a week. That is nothing. And it can do so much for your bones, vitality, sex drive, your vaginal dryness, all of these things, right? Now, granted, it should be taken with a dash of progesterone. You don't want to give estrogen unabated without progesterone. So you can do a couple drops of Progon B or get on 50 milligrams of progesterone. That's why if you go to vitalmed.com, my team will walk you through it. Now, listen, if you don't want to take that, then you want to take phytosterols. So phytoestrogens, right? So you got a couple different products out there. Mediterranean diet's really good for this. Phytoestrogens are fantastic. You get them in like flax lignans and a bunch of different products. Estrofactors has it in it. But I would encourage you, a product called Femestroplex is really, really good. Postmenopausal or perimenopause, Femestroplex is a really good product. You can add some black cohosh. I really like Estrovera, which is ramponic rhubarb root. Big fan of that. But once again, I'm telling you, a little goes a long way, but you need the right professional that's gonna make sure if you have a little bit of both, you are safe. You don't have to worry. People are mixing up the world of synthetic hormones versus bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Going to trusted advisors that use micro amounts for amazing outcomes. Listen, you all have been incredible this evening. I hope to see you all for April 22nd. We'll be here every Monday, Metabolic Monday, typically 6:30. I want to see you here next week as we announce the winner. See you all. Have a great rest of the Monday. Peace.